Hi, welcome to Her Whispered Tales. Before I tell you my story, I need you to stay with me till the very end, because what I experienced as a child still doesn't fully make sense to me. And maybe by the end of this story, you will understand why I still remember every second of it. My name is Ava Thompson. I'm 20 years old now, but when I was 14, my parents made a decision that didn't just change my life, it removed me from it. And the strangest part is this. Even today, I still don't know the exact moment everything started going wrong. I was born in Portland, Oregon, USA. My father, Richard Thompson, worked at a warehouse, and my mother, Linda Thompson, stayed at home. My younger brother, Ethan, was just a child. From the outside, we looked like a normal family, but inside our home, there was always something unspoken in the air. It wasn't anger, and it wasn't happiness either. It was just a heavy silence that filled every room. I still remember mornings very clearly. My father would sit at the table reading the newspaper. There was no good morning, no small talk, just the quiet sound of pages turning. I learned very early not to interrupt that silence. Once, I asked a simple question, "Can I have juice?" He didn't answer. He just pointed at the fridge without even looking at me. After that moment, I stopped asking simple things. At school, I was quiet. Not because I wanted to be, but because I didn't know how to be anything else. One day, I got 92% in my exams, and I was excited. I ran home thinking maybe this time he would smile. I handed him the paper, but he didn't even turn properly. He looked at it while eating and said, "Why not 100? Then he continued eating like nothing important had happened. I stood there longer than I should have, waiting for something more, but nothing came. That night, I went to my room and stayed quiet at dinner, not because I chose silence, but because no one noticed it. Sometimes at night, I would hear soft sounds coming. The kitchen. It was crying, but very quiet, like someone trying not to exist. One night, I walked in and saw my mother sitting alone, quickly wiping her face. She saw me and told me to go to sleep. I didn't ask anything, because in my house, questions never felt safe. When I turned 14, something in the house began to change. It wasn't sudden, it happened slowly, like a light fading without anyone noticing. My parents started asking me strange questions, like where I had been after school and who I talked to during the day. At first, it felt normal, but then it became repetitive and controlled. It didn't feel like they were asking anymore. It felt like they were trying to confirm something. One night, I gathered the courage to ask my mother if I had done something wrong. She paused for too long and then simply said, "No, just be careful." That sentence stayed with me longer than any punishment ever could. I don't remember the exact day everything changed, but I remember the feeling. It didn't look at me, my mother's hands were shaking, and my brother stood silently behind the sofa. Then my father said, "You will leave today." I smiled nervously, thinking I misunderstood, and asked, "Leave where?" No one answered. My mother walked toward me slowly, and I saw something in her face I had never seen before. She looked completely broken. She said, "I'm sorry." That was it. There was no explanation, no reason, no comfort. Just a bag placed near the door with my clothes and a few belongings. Nothing that felt like a life. And then the door opened. I stood outside for a long time, waiting. Part of me believed someone would come back and call my name, but no one did. That night, I slept somewhere unfamiliar, and I remember thinking that I was still here, but I didn't belong anywhere anymore. The next night, I sat on a bathroom floor, not crying, just staring at my hands. I found myself thinking, if I disappeared right now, would it matter? And I hated myself for even thinking that. I started working small jobs just to survive. I cleaned tables, washed dishes, and did anything I could find. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Slowly, I stopped waiting for someone to come back for me. At 17, I was helped by a shelter program. At 18, I finally had a safe place to stay. At 19, I started studying psychology because I needed answers, not just about my parents, but about people. By the time I turned 20, I had graduated. But I didn't feel proud. I just felt quiet, like I had survived something that never truly left me. Years later, I came to understand something painful. It was never about me being bad. It was about fear. Fear of society, fear of judgment, and fear of consequences. But fear always comes with a cost, and in my story, I was that cost. Before I end this, I want you to imagine a 14-year-old girl standing outside a house, holding a small bag. She isn't crying loudly. She's just waiting for a door that will never open. Again. That girl was me. And even now, what I remember most is not the leaving or the pain, but the silence after the door closed. If you are watching this and you feel unwanted, listen carefully. You are not a mistake. You are not a burden. You are not invisible. You are still becoming, even if no one sees it yet. If this story reached you, please like, share, and subscribe to Her Whispered Tales. Because somewhere out there, someone is sitting in silence right now, believing they don't matter. And maybe this story will be the reason they keep going.